Okay. So thank you, Jampal, again for being here again in this conversation and making a space in your agenda. And just for the people who doesn't know, Jampal Norbu, he's a Buddhist teacher. He's currently in America, and he teaches the Dharma. I think, well, you, Jampal, are embedded into Dharma since you were born because of Sigar Contra Rinpoche and Elizabeth Namibia. And he travels around the world teaching Dharma. And one of the things I would like to explore today is about the digital era. And what about how we integrate Dharma in this era where everything is quick, a lot of stimulus outside, and apparently the social network and all the social media kidnapped from the present moment. So that's my thinking. So I don't know, what do you think about the normal use we do now for social media?
Well, I mean, I have social media, and I like social media, and I feel like I learn a lot more than I did when I was younger, and I had to just look through the same books over and over again. Now I have internet, and there's this great wealth of information. I mean, even Buddhist teachings, I can just go looking for Buddhist teachings online. I don't have to drive or fly to another place and seek out even just books. I can Amazon, I can order books to myself, which is really convenient. But it is true, the social media and how we treat things, how we treat our time, how we treat ourselves has changed a bit. For instance, if someone were to send you a letter, no one expects the immediate response. No one expects a letter to come back right away, because it has to go, you have to write it, you have to stamp it, you have to put it in the post box, it has to drive or fly, wherever it's going. And so you don't expect it. But now it's expected like every moment, like now. And the expectation, how we have different expectations for ourselves, how we have different expectations for other people, and how we expect our time to always be full. That's different, and that's maybe not the best, because then we are always expecting our time to be full. We are always expecting no wait. We don't like waiting at all. We must have the email right now. We have to have the package right now. We have to have the information or tickets or entertainment like right now. We don't want to wait in line or anything like that. This is what progress and speed does to the human mind. And maybe we fill up our time, maybe we are entertained all the time, but is that really always a good thing? Because when in the past, like I had maybe one or two pen pals, pen pals where you write letters to someone. So I would do that, and then I have to wait weeks and weeks and weeks for a letter to come back, and it was hard to do, so I stopped doing it after a while. But in the time in between, I had to be with myself. I had to be with my mind, and I knew how to be patient, how to enjoy time without filling everything, without having every moment to be active, every moment to be entertaining, to enjoy space, to know what space is. We don't like space anymore. We want to fill space all the time. Like no space, no breaks, no pause, no commercials. Even commercials are trying to be entertaining. Like you need this, you should be this, you should be doing this. And not knowing how to find space and enjoy space in the mind also does a lot of things to ourselves and how we think of ourselves, because we don't get time to know ourselves. We don't get time to know our own mind. It always has to be filled by something else, something outside. We're being told things, or we're being influenced by something outside. We don't really take time to think for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not so fun.
And Jampal, what do you? I agree completely with what you said. I think there is, as the Dharma says, there is an existential fear of being empty, like space. And
Right.
how can we link the Dharma and the world as it is now, full of stimulus, plenty of things to do in our schedule, work, social network. Sometimes we have to work with social networks, and how to integrate Dharma. And what do you think about being in the ground without losing ourselves?
Obviously, we have to have some social media connection. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. I mean, I'm in the United States, and you're in New Zealand right now? New Zealand. So yeah, there is some necessity to be online or to be interacting with technology and so on. But what we can do is we can examine our expectations and what do we use the technology, or is the technology setting our pace? Like if a Skype interview or if a phone call online is like 5 minutes late, it's like a big problem. Or if there's like a pause or the screen freezes or something, there's a like, oh no, it's going down. And I mean, remember with letters, it would take weeks to get a response. And what are our expectations? If we see that our mind is expecting everything at once, then we're not really engaging well with our mind. If we're letting technology set a pace, we're not maintaining a good relationship with space. We're not maintaining a good relationship with letting things be, kind of projecting how things should be, holding on to things, grasping onto things. And so much of meditation and Dharma is being able to sit naturally, like not hold on to things, not push things away, not good, not bad, but just being able to appreciate where we are and what we're doing. And that can include being on the computer, that can include talking with someone, but if there's a pause, or if something happens, if the power goes out, or if the internet turns off, especially if the internet turns off, that it's not a problem. It's still possible to enjoy life.
Yeah.
It's still possible to enjoy the mind. But that takes awareness of whether or not we are allowing that space in and allowing ourselves to work with our minds, or whether or not we let technology set the pace. Just seeing how it sets the pace is a big part of it.
And actually, my perception of Instagram, that is maybe now more used than Facebook, is that we have that sensation or perspective that we share only nice things, nice life, and sometimes obviously I use Instagram a lot because I work with that. But
Yeah.
sometimes I ask myself if we are in some way we are afraid to share the reality. Reality is not what we see in the Instagram. That is not only one shot of one photography, one instant, and in some sense, it's kind of fake as well. What does I don't know.
Yes. Very selective photos.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's where we are. I mean, our generation have to deal with all these technologies, and maybe that's the path. As I see, is that's the pathway to learn how to behave with technology. At the beginning, maybe we lose ourselves, and then we want validation from outside with the likes, or like how many comments I have, and then maybe I ask myself. And am I giving all my validation from external sources, or it comes from myself, even if I show some aspects of myself I don't like, and that's what
Right.
Dharma does, right? And I Jampal, you are very skillful to explain the Dharma to younger generation, and that's one of the things I would like you to explain more, how Dharma is integrated in our life.
Well, the foundation of all Dharma is in self-reflection. And in self-reflecting, whether or not we see happiness and kind of purpose and meaning and joy, is that something we get from outside, or is that something we have inside? To be able to self-reflect is the foundation of all Dharma, all spiritual practice. There must be some self-reflection there, because it's spirituality, and it has to do with the spirit, it has to do with the mind, and so it's all related to that. But with something like Instagram, I mean, my phone just bing, things are constantly popping up and like distracting. And a thing with Instagram especially is you only see the pretty photos. You see someone at the top of the mountain, but you don't see how they walked up. You don't see the trail. You don't see the hard work or anything like that. It's only the kind of pretty moments, or and so we think life should be like that. We think that those are good. These are good moments. This is how it should be. And maybe we don't always look so like regal on top of the mountain. We're not always so like big at the gym. The flowers are not always so bright and colorful on our walks, or something like that. And maybe we're not getting like 1,000 likes. We only have like 50 likes, but not like thousands and thousands of likes. And so we need more likes, or need more approval. And so this is definitely a trend where it seems like these things are good. Likes are good. Those images are good. This is what life should be like. This is what happiness is. When you get those shots, like you see that picture and it's like, that is happiness. And you want it. You want the likes, you want the picture, you want the whole experience. But we don't see the hike up the mountain. We don't see all the hard work that goes into that. And if you look quite closely, you'll see that there's a lot of Photoshop. There's a lot of editing to make the colors brighter, to make the view look better than it really is. And when it's not that way, is the happiness there? Do you actually find it? Like there's one photo. It's in the next state over, not too far from here. It's Horsetooth River, or Horseshoe Canyon. So it's this big river, and you've probably seen this photo. It's like a big rock, big monument rock, and then there's a river that kind of bends around the rock. It's huge. It's national park, and there's always someone sitting on the canyon looking down at the river, and then the rock is there, and it's really beautiful. But that is the most photographed area on Instagram. And so if you see one person there, there are like thousands of people there. Thousands of people have sat in that exact same spot, taken that exact same picture on Instagram and posed like almost the exact same way, and then put it on their Instagram. Now, if we were to go and we were to sit in that spot, if we were to take that photo with all the light and everything, if we were to put it on Instagram, do we feel happy? If we go there, we do all those things, is that happy? Is that really accomplishment? To do the exact same thing that 1,000, 10,000 other people have done before us. Do we really get happiness? Do we get peace? Do we get accomplishment from doing the exact same thing? No. And it's because the happiness is not from the place. There is no happiness in the rock. If you touch the rock, you don't immediately feel happy. Not everyone who touches that rock feels happy. Not everyone who sits in that place feels happy. Not everyone who takes that exact same photo feels happy. It's just copying the same thing over and over and over because it seems like it could be happy. But it's not inherent there. It's not natural. The moment you sit down, there it comes, the happiness. It doesn't work like that. And if the happiness is not outside, if it's not in that spot, then where is it? And this is where we must have self-reflection. If we do that thing that everyone else does and we still don't feel, great or happy, we don't feel as happy as they look in the photo, then where is it? Where is this meaningful experience? If it's not in the place, if it's not in the camera, if it's not in all those conditions, then it has to be inside, not outside. Does happiness come from outside? Is it always there in some outside thing? I've never seen it. And I've been like to the top of a mountain. I've taken a photo of myself and doing a thing at a mountain. But what was the big thing a while ago was to like sit with a tiger. I sat with a tiger, and it was fun, but it wasn't like it wasn't like a really great experience, and I was actually more scared because it might wake up and eat me. So it's not inherent outside. It's something that we look for inside.
And
maybe these are
I'm just thinking about what you said, and in some way, because that I'm from Peru. Some weeks ago, I posted in Facebook, what would you like to ask to Buddhist teacher? And they asked me a lot of things, and one of the questions were related to social media, how we can relate. What does Buddhist teacher thinks about the current use of social media? And that's what you're answering. And the other, I remember another question was, how can we develop happiness? Well, meaning internal happiness in our current situation, meaning that we have jobs to do, a busy schedule with friends, with family, things to do. How can we develop that internal sense of happiness? And my assessment is that meditation, of course, that's why it's the foundation of the Buddhist practice. But for some people, it's difficult to find the time and to find being like pushed toward the Dharma. What do you have to would you like to say about that?
Well, I agree. Meditation is definitely the way, but meditation just means focus, learning how to focus, learning how to concentrate. But concentrate on what? You can concentrate on many things. You can meditate on many things. But when we stop looking for happiness outside, it may seem like we're not trying to find happiness outside, but we do. We are constantly motivated as if happiness is outside. That's why a lot of us have the jobs that we have, because we think that will, bring happiness, or that the money will bring the happiness, or looking for, boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife, whatever, that will bring the happiness. That person, that outside thing will bring happiness. A lot of our life is looking outside for happiness. But if we see that happiness is not outside, through self-reflection, it's like, is this really giving me happiness, or is it just causing, a new problem, or, maybe short-term happiness, but not really long-term or lasting happiness? Then the priority must be to stop looking outside. That doesn't mean like quit your job. That doesn't mean break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend or anything like that. It just means maybe try not to look so hard outside, and to spend some time looking inside. That's the meditation. To be able to see where happiness comes from inside, and to be able to stop focusing so much on trying to get something outside, because it doesn't happen that way. And when we look inside, we see that a lot of our suffering, a lot of our anxiousness and worries, it really revolves around our attachments and our habitual ways of thinking about me, thinking about mine, my situation. I want it to be this way. I don't want things to change. I want everything to be perfect. And to see where our attachments come from. And they always seem to stem from cherishing oneself, holding on to a deep attachment to oneself. And that doesn't mean that taking care of oneself is bad, or that we shouldn't think about our own well-being. That's a natural thing to do. But deep attachment, not being able to be compassionate, not being able to think of other people, not being able to extend care out to other people, that's what a lot of suffering is based on. The deep attachment to the sense of self. We can still take care of ourselves and be kind to others. We can still live a good life and not be so focused on me and mine and my well-being. And that's where we talk about egolessness and opening ourselves up to other people, to make friends, to extend outward beyond ourselves, to not live like a small self-centered life. And once we open that up, once we have compassion and kindness and sympathy for other people, then we let go of that attachment. And there is a natural happiness there. Because the cause of the suffering is removed. The cause of the suffering, which is the attachment, is let go of. So we find more natural happiness. We don't try to be something else. We stay natural. We don't try to make ourselves into something else. We stay natural. And in that natural state, we are happy. And that only comes from within. That has to come from within ourselves and working with our own mind. You can be generous, but still suffer. It's not about the outward action as much as it is about the inward self-reflection. That's where it is. And with social media, there's so much emphasis on, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Like there's some other thing to be. like who you are right now is not good enough. You need to be you need to be in that picture. You need to be sitting with a tiger. Otherwise, you're not worth it. Thinking that social media determines worth. And a lot of social media is trying to sell something. It's trying to sell you an experience or sell you a product. You don't need to buy things to be happy. If buying things made us happy, then rich people would always be happy. But rich people are sometimes more miserable because, they keep buying. I don't see too many genuinely happy rich people. I see rich people who pose a lot, but I don't see them actually happy.
Okay, Jampal. And let me check my questions that I have here. Well,
Okay.
actually, look, there's many
Whoa.
questions, but I will only say a couple of them. I think that one of the barriers from South America and for the Dharma maybe are the language. And there are very valuable speech teachings in English, and that's one of the barriers we struggle with Dharma. But anyway, I know that you and as well this year Control Rinpoche are like constantly going to Brazil, which is near from Peru, Chile, and that's one thing that I wanted to say. And what's the meaning then about being compassionate in the digital era?
So being compassionate in the digital era, I've done a few programs on this, and the idea behind being compassionate is that the digital era gives us a lot of ways of connecting with other people, but it also gives us a lot of ways of disconnecting with other people. Maybe once we saw a person who was having a hard time, like a child that was crying or suffering, and we could show compassion because we see them on the street, or maybe see a photo of them or something. But now it's like thousands of photos, millions of photos, Instagram photos, or now we maybe think of our health, and we drink coffee, and we're not quite sure if coffee is good for our health. So we go online and it's like, coffee is good, coffee is bad, coffee will save you, coffee will kill you. The internet and all technology makes things very ambiguous, hard to know. Such strong opinions, everyone likes to shout on the internet. Because it's like there are less consequences on the internet, but these still have negative effects. They still harm people to just shout on the internet and not be aware of speech. We're less aware of what we say on the internet because it's as if there are no consequences. We can type whatever comment in and just say it as if there's no consequence. Being mindful of what we say, that is part of compassion. Knowing that our words have effect, knowing that words can hurt people. You don't walk up to someone on the street and say, "Hey, you're a loser." Because we see their face, we see like they're sad or that hurts them. And we see what we have done. In the digital age, we barely see what we have done because the effect is out there somewhere. It's almost not real. Being more aware that the people on the internet are people. This is the kind of compassion that we have to have. Otherwise, the internet just becomes a big wad of hate speech.
Yeah, and being aware of our actions, but that requires self-reflection as well. Being being aware of what we say to the other person. Sometimes I read the comments from, polemic kind of posts, and all this is a battle. And
Mm.
and I question myself if, and immediately when you talk about being compassionate about what we say have an effect on the other person, it brings to my mind sometimes with our sense of being ourselves and being opinionated about our thoughts, our belief, we want to push out, this is what I think, this is how I am. And I think it's kind of the West attitude, like, this is who I am, and who I am, I don't care, but it's okay because this is who I am, this is what I am.
Right.
And and then just push my belief, my opinion, and we don't think about the other person.
Right. It's not really so different than before technology. Still being mindful of speech, still being mindful of what we say, and having compassion for others. But now the environment is different. It's still just as important as it was before, but a new arena, a new kind of place to do that, new place to think of those things online. And self-reflection is so important being online, because there is that tendency to want to say, this is who I am, deal with it, kind of.
Exactly. That's what I think. That's kind of a way of thinking that when Buddhism talks about being yourself, sometimes we can think about, it says being yourself. Then you can be aggressive and you can be opinionated and being yourself. That's no problem because you're accepting yourself.
Right. But at the same time, Buddhism has a lot of self-reflection on what is self. I say, this is me, deal with it. But what does that mean? What does that mean? That's very unclear. So who are you? And if you say, I'm an angry person, this is me. It's like, are you really an angry person? Are you angry all the time? Is that everything that you are? Are you angry all the time? Well, maybe no. So then, are you just defined by angry? If the anger comes and the anger goes, that means the anger is temporary. It's not actually who you are. It's just something that popped up for a moment. Are you young? If you're young, will you get older? Yeah, I guess I'll get older. Then you won't be young forever. And so you can't always call yourself young. If you are a changing person, if you are you only a son or a daughter? Or are you also a friend? You're not a son or daughter to your friends, you're a son or daughter to your parents. So you exist in different ways. To some people you're a friend, to some people you are a child, to some people you are a sibling, to some people you are a stranger. You exist in many different ways. So where is me? This is who I am. Where is the one single, self?
Yeah.
And but
Continue. Sorry.
so in being oneself, it's not about being an I. It's not about being an ego. It's about seeing that there is no one ego to be. There's no one way to be, and then to just relax and be natural, be what you are. Stop trying to be something. Even your own ideas of who you are. Stop trying to be an idea of who you are. Be everything. In that, you are not one thing. You can change, you can grow, you can just be more natural and honest. Don't give in to the illusion of ego, because ego seems to be one way. But when you really look for ego, if you really reflect, and if I really reflect on who I am and like, where is me? Like, am I in my head? Am I in my nose or my ears or something like that? Like, where am I? Like, really looking for me and ego. Where am I?
So, Jampa, I have a question regarding that, because you know that well, you come from the West as well, so you know as well that in the West there are many programs, worships, like saying be yourself and
Yeah.
be who you are. And I've been in those worships, so you explore different aspects of yourself, and you explore maybe some hidden aspects of yourself you never had the courage to explore maybe. And then you realize, what that's my experience, you realize you have those aspects, and then you say, like you said, deal with it, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then I'm exposed to a relationship, a friend or a couple, and then, well, this is me, even if it's not a healthy an attitude, and I say, well, deal with it. And it maybe that, and then I would like to ask you how there is a way. I know the Buddhism is vast and it's like deep and it's not like independent. And I think that in the West we try to separate things, mindfulness or meditation and philosophy, but Buddhism integrates a lot of things. But anyway, how is what you said, like being who you are? Okay, I have an attitude of being aggressive. I know that it's like only one state of mind, but how do I grow the other aspects of myself that are healthy? How can I do that?
Well, aggression and being angry is also a negative emotion, which is tied directly to the sense of self. Because all aggression comes out as, this person did something to me. This person harmed me. And so, I feel like I have to push them away, or that has to change. All aggression is me and them, separate, different, that kind of thing. And aggression is interesting because it feels so absolute. Like, you don't need to examine anything. It just feels true. Aggression feels true at that moment. And aggression arising is not always a bad thing. I mean, someone might do something to us, we feel angry. This wasn't right, or they hurt my feelings. Having emotions is not a bad thing. We all have emotions. We all have experiences. It's not like bad emotion. This is a good emotion. This is a bad emotion. But when we act out of aggression, we tend to cause pain to other people. We tend to cause pain to ourselves because we make this separation. Like, them and me, separate. Like, I am human, they are not human. That kind of thing. Making a barrier, making a divide. But really, we are connected. Even the emotion of anger can only come up if there are with this other person, with ourself. Only compassion can arise when there is someone else to be compassionate with. Anger separates, and so it can cause suffering if we really act on the anger. When anger arises, and we say, this is who I am, I am angry, we actually limit ourselves, because we are so much more than angry. We can be so much more than angry. And when we hold on to ourselves in one way, we actually prevent ourselves from being natural. Being natural is to change. Being natural is to be open, to be connected. Being natural is to not only experience things one way, but to experience things many ways. And when we stop holding on to things being one way or another way, and just rest with the changing element of time, and changing life, and being able to relax into that, even a changing self. I was young and now I am old. If I only hold on to myself when I'm young, when I'm old, I'm going to be very depressed because I'm no longer young. If I was thin and now I'm fat, I'm going to be very depressed because I'm no longer thin, or like I have to be thin. No, I can be many things. If I'm fat and I don't like being fat, that doesn't mean I can't change. I can still maybe be thin, or even if it's quite difficult to be thin, I don't have to be unhappy. I can be happy. It's not only dependent on one thing, one way of being. Because it's open, because things can change, we can find happiness. It doesn't have to be fixed in one way. So this is much easier than trying to be me. And trying to be myself means there's like one self to be, one way of being. I'm always trying to be that. I'm always trying to be something else, something that I am not, or something that I should be. To say that I should be this means that I am not that. That means there's something wrong right now. That's exhausting. That's so much work. Even though it seems like more natural to be me, it's actually a lot of work. It's a habit. It's a bad habit. But when we can just sit and say, don't be myself, but just be who I am. Be who I am right now. Even if I'm angry, okay, I'm angry, but that doesn't mean it's going to stay forever. That doesn't mean I'm stuck like this. That doesn't mean I need to take it out on other people. It comes, it's here for a moment, and then it goes. I don't actually have to do anything. Be natural, more liberating. That's where freedom is.
I think I'm losing you, and now you're there. Hi.
Uh-oh.
You're freezing. You're frozen.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay, wait.
Oh, yes.
Okay, you're frozen in my computer. So now you're alive again.
Uh-oh.
Hi.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it says the connection is unstable. Well, that's kind of things that I should
Maybe
be patient with internet connection. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think
Internet.
I think that Jampal it's complex.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Natalia?
Wait.
Technology.
Okay. Yeah, technology. Oh my God, I should be patient. Okay, Jampal, well, there are many questions I would like to ask you, but well, I will try to just do one more.
Okay.
And okay, Yeah, it's what you were saying is like in my mind, it's like being like a container of everything that emerged, and but that integrates with feel emotion, being able to feel it, being able to deal with it, being able to not harm others if anger comes up, and be aware of my speech with so many things. That's why I love Dharma. It's like, oh my God, vast. And how Tralek Rinpoche, that is the spiritual director of these centers, he used to say that the way is meditation. I mean, to self acceptance is meditation. And you know that now more than before in the West, we try to dissect things, mindfulness, and then maybe training in compassion, or maybe guided meditation. But is that useful? I mean, only mindfulness, only, because we try to separate things. Is that useful? Or our look should be like more integrative, like the Dharma? I don't know.
Yes. No, I see what you mean. And for me, Dharma is maybe not just something here and there. I think of Dharma as really every day, every minute. Dharma is how I work with my mind, and my mind doesn't turn off. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm still experiencing my mind. So every moment is somewhat related to Dharma and to practice and compassion. It's just how I work with my mind and how I'm aware of my mind. Even if I'm angry, I see the anger, and then I think of maybe, is this what I want to be? Is this how I want my mind to act? And then to think, what's the better way? What has less suffering? What will cause less suffering? Not to act angry, but just to let it be, or maybe to put myself in another person's shoes, to see what it's like from their side, the person I'm angry with. What's it like in their position? To exchange myself and someone else. That's the practice of Tonglen, exchanging self and other. And then to maybe see what it's like from that perspective. This is practice. This is Dharma. These are the teachings. It's every moment of every day. And maybe that seems a little like, oh no, practicing every moment of every day. But really, it's not so daunting, because we deal with our mind anyways. And if we train in something like compassion, we spend a week really thinking about compassion and focusing on compassion, soon it just becomes natural. Maybe we're not always like exploding with compassion or something like that every moment, but when we see someone who's suffering, then we have that connection of compassion, or it can come up more naturally. So even though it seems separate, like here is the mindfulness, here is the compassion, here is the self-reflection and all that, they all go together. So we focus on one for some time, we focus on another for some other time, but they're not separate. And compassion and kindness, I mean, they go together. Self-reflection and awareness and mindfulness, they go together. And the closer we self-reflect on, what makes us happy and what is painful in life, we might see naturally that really holding on to attachments and to self, that's what makes us unhappy. So letting go of that by being compassionate to other people, by opening ourselves up, by not trying to be one way, but being open, being flexible, being kind, not getting stuck. This is happiness. This is integrated. It all comes together. All Buddhist practice is connected. Even the exchanging of self and other is connected, deeply connected with all aspects of practice. Even self-reflection, like, where am I? How am I different from another person? Still looking at the positions of me and someone else. Even when I'm angry, even when I'm not necessarily practicing, it still has to do with self and other. This is just how we see the world. And to be able to exchange self and other, then that's, you could say, practice. But it is integrated, and it's because Buddhism looks at a more natural way of how things work. Not maybe just how we hold on to things, but a more natural way of how things work. Like you and I, we naturally see each other as maybe separate, like I am me and you are you. But if we look closer, we might say that I am created by my environment. I am created by the food that I eat. I'm created by the air that I breathe. I'm created by the things that come into my mind. The things that I study, the things that I see, the things that I know. And right now I see you. So you are actually influencing me. You are partially creating me. You are partially who I am. Like, not separate. And it works in reverse too. We are influencing each other. We are part of each other in that sense. But we are also part of many other things. So even though we see each other as separate, for practical reasons, there is no actual great separation. Even if we're not seeing each other, we still breathe the same air, we still live on the same planet. There is some, even if we don't see it, there is a subtle effect. And that is how we are connected. And being able to appreciate this and not, hold too tightly onto a single ego and just sit naturally. This is Dharma. This is practice. To just let go and be at peace.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jampal. And well, I won't finish. I won't see the questions anymore. And well, I don't know if you have any final recommendations from our generation, the millennials. I like that name, like millennials. People that is young, that is suffering, and with the search of happiness, with the search of the right job, to contribute to the world in a good sense, and with frustration of not having the purpose, and with not finding enough money to settle down in a proper way. So many causes of suffering in our age, in our generation. And what would be a couple of recommendations?
Well, maybe something easy for all millennials to do is maybe to just ask the question, where is the happiness that I want? Is it outside of me, or is it inside? Just to ask the question. Because if if we have experience looking, is it outside or is it inside? If we don't find it outside, then we can stop looking outside. And if we stop looking outside, we have more opportunity. If happiness is only outside, that means only lucky people will have it, or only rich people will have it, or powerful people will have it. But I don't see them getting it because I don't see it outside. If it's inside, then we can have confidence that we can all have it. Some people think they can't have it. They can't find happiness. They can't find joy or something like that. I mean, even if we don't have much time, even if we don't have much ability, or we don't have many resources, that doesn't mean we can't have happiness, because it's inside. And who's going to stop us from thinking? No one can stop us from thinking. And maybe like the internet can distract us, but no one can actually stop us if we want to look inside. And the more we're used to looking inside, the more power we will have to find happiness. And I think that's true for everyone. And for millennials, maybe there's so many interesting things outside, but there's this great thing that we all have inside. And we have it. To use that and to appreciate that, that's a big gift. So really, anyone in any country or any kind of situation, this is possible. To be able to look at oneself, not in a bad way or looking down on oneself, but just to be open. No matter who we are, no matter where we come from, we can look inside. We can look at our own mind. We can say, here I have all the choices, because I can work with my mind.
I can't with these interruptions, sorry.
See? Okay, that's the other advice for millennials. Just be patient.
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. Everything makes sense. It's like everything in the real life. I mean, in our brains, in our mind, we know what to do. We know that we have to be patient. We have to not look only the goal. We have to enjoy the pathway. We have to be passionate. We have to have perseverance. We have to continue. Don't give up. All the things we have it, but we don't.
We have it.
How to do it? We get I obviously I speak for myself. It's like, oh my God, why it's not like I can fix it. That's insane. I can't. Frustration.
Yeah. Well, don't be disheartened. We have habits, and we might trip, but we can get back up and we do it again. We do it again and again. It becomes easier each time.
That's the beautiful part of the Dharma. I think that Dharma, as Trara Rinpoche said, is joy. I mean, it's like, it's fun to see yourself with all your mechanisms and your mind or your tendencies. It's fun. So Dharma should be fun. And I was thinking, oh my God, yes. But at the beginning, maybe we suffer because we think, oh my God, there are so many things negative in me. So I'm such a bad person. And then it's like, oh, really? I think when when we start looking at, okay, I have too many things to do, that better I just relax, because maybe it would take all my life. So maybe just like at the beginning with that sensation, okay, I don't care, and then it's like, okay, do it, and then start listening to
Yeah.
others like you, or Trungpa Rinpoche, or Sigan Trungpa Rinpoche, and then it's like, okay, there is a hope. There is hope. There is hope. There is a way to be out of suffering. Well, that's what I was saying.
To enjoy the mind, right?
Yeah, to enjoy our tendencies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
They don't have to be our tendencies.
Pardon?
They don't have to be our tendencies.
Yeah, but I think it's a long way. It's a long way to recognize that we are not our tendencies.
Yeah. Enjoy the journey.
Yes. Enjoy the journey. Thank you, Jampal. Thank you for all your time, for your teachings. And I hope that these teachings, as well as all the Dharma teachings in YouTube and all the places, are useful for the people that are in search of, self-development, there are a lot of people looking for be out of suffering. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for all that you do, and for your channel, and for providing this to those people who are interested.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.